I'm Stephanie, and when I was 12 years old, I was legally adopted, but in 2024, I found my biological mom. Now I'm living in Taiwan, I'm learning Mandarin. In fact, this is my loft. My mom sleeps right downstairs from me, and it has been a crazy experience to become the caretaker of somebody who never got a chance to take care of me, which is why I'm making this vlog. Because when you search up adoptee stories, it's almost always the adopters and very rarely ever the adoptees speaking for themselves. So I'm here to tell you 5 things that I've learned about myself since I found my biological mom. The first thing that I learned about myself is the fact that we have the same personality. The other day I was like doing my homework downstairs and I just heard her go like do 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 do, like kind of singing to herself, and I was just kind of taken aback because I was like, I do that. It's been such a bizarre experience to like see myself from a third person perspective, because it's also been really cool to see how other people treat my mom. They treat her with respect, they treat her with dignity, they love her and they take care of her. And if other people can do that for someone who looks like me, then I'm deserving of being taken care of. I'm deserving of respect and I'm deserving of love. You know, there's a whole nature versus nurture argument, but like it really checks when I found my biological mom and my spouse was looking at the two of us and he was like, whoa, you guys even move the same. It's so weird to be a biracial person because there aren't a lot of people who look like you to begin with, and yet when you put my mom's face and my face next to each other side by side, there's no denying that we are related. And I think it's so cool because we even have the same smile. I used to be so insecure about my smile lines. Back in America, I'm an esthetician, so there's a lot that I could do about these smile lines and stuff, but I ultimately decided not to do anything about them because my smile is my mom's smile, and I'm so proud of that. Oh, but another thing is that when I met my mom and I got to see like her stubbornness and her tenacity, I realized that I wouldn't be where I am today without her stubbornness. Before I became a Morris Award author, I spent 10 years writing 8 different books and sucking at it. So I wrote 8 different books over the span of 10 years, and I kept sending them out to literary agents being like, hey, do you like my writing? Do you like my writing? And I accrued well over 500 rejections over the span of those 10 years. But I had a dream, god damn it, and I was going to become a published author. What kept me going through those years of rejection was my tenacity. It was my stubbornness. And so when I debuted with a book about an adoptee who learns Mandarin so that she could find her biological mom, and then I found my biological mom, I realized that my mom helped me write that book because of her tenacity. Because her tenacity is my tenacity. Because she never gave up and I never gave up. One of these days, I'm gonna get through a video without actually crying but at the same time, it's like 6, 7. So crazy because like, why are adoptees stereotyped with being grateful when in reality we should be stereotyped for crying too much? Like, on God. The second thing that I learned about myself since finding my biological mom is that I deal with trauma the way that she deals with trauma. And the way that we deal with trauma is avoidance. We don't want to get into fights. We walk out of the room. We just don't fucking deal with it. I feel like seeing how she deals with her avoidance helped me understand the bullshit I put my spouse through, unfortunately. And it's helped me really appreciate my spouse as well, because like, in these moments I'm like, there's nothing wrong, I'm not actually angry. I am angry and I'm being avoidant and I'm being really immature and I'm processing a lot of big feelings in real time, and that's really difficult for me, and I'm sorry for the things that I said because of my traumas, but now that I'm aware of them, I can work on them. It's kind of like when I started vlogging, I started to be like, whoa, do I really talk like that? Like, oh my God, like it's so funny because like in the moment as I'm telling those stories, I'm recalling how I felt. But then I watch myself like through the camera and I'm like, whoa, I look annoying as fuck. Or like, wow, I didn't realize I said like so much. It's been an interesting way to learn about myself by looking at somebody else's experience and having that somebody else look like me, sound like me, smile like me, laugh like me, find humor in the things that I find humor in, find joy in the things that I find joy in. What a confidence boost to know more about who I am. So the third thing that I've learned about myself since finding my biological mom is I have always loved spicy food, to the point that I can outspice. Like, I grew up in South Texas, so I could outspice a lot of like Latinos, and I was really proud of it too. Like, my spouse is like has Latin heritage and he a baby. But then I came to Taiwan, I found my mom, and I learned that my grandpa is from Hunan, China. And you know what Hunan is famous for? Is spicy food. My mom was telling me stories about how my grandpa would always cook super, super spicy. My mom actually hates spicy, which I think is so funny. Like, the other day I accidentally got her some, like, it wasn't spicy to me because I love me some heat. But to her, it was almost like she was eating it and she was like having an allergic reaction to this like spicy chicken, and I was like, oh my god, like, you cannot handle spice, but like I can. So since being in Taiwan, I've been eating a lot of like Szechuan peppercorn, which is not only spicy, but it's like numbing, and it's spice with a very specific flavor, and it is absolutely delicious. I'm like salivating just thinking about it, but it's so awesome that I spent my entire life knowing that I love spicy food, only to find out that the reason why I love spicy food is because my grandpa came from Hunan, China. He used to cook a lot of spicy food for us when we were like kids. I don't remember any of that, but it's so cool because now that I know that, eating spicy food, not only does it taste delicious to me, but I always think about like my roots and where I come from when I eat spicy things. I don't think I've been able to get through a single one of these thus far without tearing up, but like, I'm being authentic. You want an authentic adoptee experience? Here it is. Okay, number 4 is super, super shallow, but like, I learned that I'm gonna age pretty gracefully because my mom is like 56 and she still looks pretty good. Girly don't have creases. Like, girly don't have creases here. She don't have creases here. Like, her skin looks good. It's also been really interesting because like I have a lot of gray hair and she has a lot of gray hair. So it's been so cool to kind of like see how she ages, because like, yeah, she has a lot of gray hair, but like, this is how she manages it. That said, I am 50% caucasity, which means the sun hates me a little bit more. So perhaps I will age like a speckled tortilla, in addition to not raisioning because I'm Asianing. Out of all of my siblings, I feel like I look like her the most, so I better freaking age like her, which is also really funny because I feel like out of all of my siblings, I'm also the most white presenting. Freaking phenotypes are gonna phenotype, and the people who know that most are mixed people, man. And number 5, the 5th thing that I've learned about myself since I met my biological mom is, but I also have her mental disorders. Canonically, it did take me a while to realize that I'm dyslexic, because I thought that dyslexia meant that when you read books, the letters wiggle around on the page. That's not at all true. Dyslexia is just language processing in general. I'll be reading and I see words, but my brain cannot turn words into meaning. And so I have to force myself to read. Here's the kicker, is not only do I have dyslexia, but I have this whack-ass form of synesthesia, where when I read books, I hear music. When I was young and I was finally like getting into reading, Goosebumps, Boxcar Children, Nancy Drew, Harry Potter, I think those were like my golden era of like middle grade books. And so I used to stay up reading, and I started to hear like Game Boy music while I was reading, and I thought it was because my brother was awake in the next room playing Game Boy. So I got out of bed, went over to my brother, and I was like, dude, you need to stop playing Game Boy. And he like woke up and he was like, dude, I wasn't playing Game Boy, what are you talking about? And I was like, I heard you play Game Boy. And so then I went back into my bed, and then I started to think about it, and I was like, no, I definitely heard Game Boy music, but I didn't realize then at such a young age that the reason why I heard Game Boy music was because like I hear music when I read. And so like to this day as an adult, I'll hear like symphonies. Sometimes I even hear singers singing, and they'll just be like singing like lyrics and stuff. But when I came to Taiwan and I asked my mom about it, I was like, hey mom, when you're reading books, do you hear music? She was like, yeah. And then she told me that when she was doing homework as a kid, she would hear people talking to her, and she just thought it was ghosts. We have the same type of like dyslexia, synesthesia, whatever the fuck. As a kinship adoptee, I had the privilege of growing up with my 4 biological siblings, but none of them have this synesthesia thing. But my mom does. Anyway, if you're an adoptee, subscribe, say hi, what's your adoption story been like? All adoptee POVs welcome here, as long as you're like an adoptee speaking for yourself. Like, more power to you, buddy. Like, I have friends who are grateful adoptees, I have friends who are ungrateful adoptees, I have transracial adoptee friends. I don't have a lot of kinship adoptee friends, to be honest. I only have like 1 kinship adoptee friend. What's most important is obviously centering adoptees, vocalizing their experiences, and taking our narratives back from the adopters and from the adoption agencies. If you like this video, subscribe. I'm trying to grow my content. I low-key have this dream of like getting enough subscribers that like I can monetize off of YouTube, and then that way I can like live in Taiwan, take care of my mom like full-time and everything. In Taiwan, the government has this whole lottery system set up, and she is always like, I'm going to win the lottery, I'm going to win the lottery. And I'm always like, girl, good luck, but probably not gonna happen. But I am in your life, and I will take care of you, and I will make sure that whatever time we have left together, it will mean something. The tears didn't fall. The tears didn't fall. You see that? You see that? I felt them coming, and I said, not today. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I have to go take out the trash now. Okay, toodles.